If you're having problems with your septic system and you're tired of spending so much money each year to have it pumped, then SeptiClean is the answer for you. SeptiClean is an advanced specially formulated blend of bacteria used in the treatment of home and commercial septic systems. The breakdown of waste in your system relies on biological activity of naturally occurring bacteria. SeptiClean restores the natural biological process in your septic system and boosts the existing biological activity. SeptiClean is completely safe on all plumbing and can help prevent expensive emergencies in pumping. SeptiClean has approximately 6 to 100 times the bacteria count of other leading off-the-shelf brands in a 1-year supply. SeptiClean comes in a water-soluble pack, which you flush down the toilet once a month with no mess or stress. Save time, money, and maintenance on your septic system. Find SeptiClean at Emporium True Value Hardware on Main Street in Sag Harbor or visit micro-tab.com. That's micro-tabb.com. Micro-tabb.com.
The Other Side at Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. This election season, the New York City Board of Elections deserves a standing ovation. In a city known for its fast pace and high expectations, our Board of Elections has truly stepped up, delivering an early voting experience that should be the gold standard for the entire state and maybe even the country. We've reached a stunning milestone, over 1 million early voters. That's not only an impressive number, it's a testament to how well this process has been handled. Just in the interest of full disclosure, one of my closest friends, Vinny, works at the Board of Elections, and so does my mother. So, keep that in mind as I praise them. But I would be saying the same thing if any other entity was working through what they've had to work through, and this amount of people voting early with zero problems, even if my mother wasn't working there or if I didn't know anybody there. Now, anyone familiar with the BOE's history knows that this hasn't always been the case. There have been years of confusion, long lines, frustrating delays, but not this time. This year, the entire citywide staff, from top-level administrators down to the volunteers working long hours, has performed flawlessly. They've shown a level of organization and professionalism that, quite frankly, is refreshing to see. It's proof that real change is possible, even in a large bureaucracy. Just last Saturday, the Board of Elections broke its own records, including during COVID. Over 140,000 people cast ballots in a single day. Lines moved quickly, sites were plentiful, and any issues that arose were addressed smoothly. Even State Senator Zellner Myrie, who, like me, has been one of the Board of Elections' most outspoken critics, is giving them well-deserved praise. As he said, early voting has been a great success, plenty of sites, quick-moving lines, no major issues, and huge turnout. Coming from a longtime critic, that is high praise indeed. Now, if you haven't yet voted, don't worry. If you're a New Yorker, you can still vote. You can head to the polls today. Polls open at 6 a.m. They're open until 9 p.m. But one thing is clear. This year's early voting process has been a major success, and it's all thanks to the Board of Elections and the hardworking poll workers who made it possible. Hats off to all of them. They've raised the bar, and hopefully this is the beginning of a new era of effective, efficient elections in New York City. Job well done. If you're one of the people that has not yet voted, when you go to vote today, don't forget to flip your ballot over. You have to vote on the propositions, but just make sure you understand what you're voting on.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
Hi, I'm Cyndi Lauper. My scalp was covered with psoriasis, which could lead to psoriatic arthritis. But Cosentyx treats both.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis 300 milligram dose and adults with active psoriatic arthritis 150 milligram dose. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some were fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at Cosentix.com or 1-844-COSENTIX.
Cosentix works for me.
Ask your doctor about Cosentix.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. This weekend, New York Governor Kathy Hochul made headlines with a statement that shocked many and insulted even more. She told MSNBC viewers, that if you vote Republican, you're anti-American. I'm not joking. Now, I don't care who you're voting for. No one, absolutely no one, should be shamed or ridiculed for their vote. Here's what the governor had to say over the weekend.
And remind everybody, if you're voting for these Republicans in New York, you are voting for someone who supports Donald Trump, and you're anti-woman, you're anti-abortion, and basically you're anti-American because you have just trashed American values and what our country is all about.
This kind of rhetoric is not only divisive, it's downright shameful. Our leaders and candidates are supposed to persuade and inspire, not bully and shame. Voters deserve to be treated with respect, no matter what side they're on. This approach of scorning and demonizing people based on who they support is right out of the Andrew Cuomo playbook. It's a tactic designed to belittle rather than build bridges. Hochul's remarks are another glaring example of why so many people feel alienated from politics today. They're tired of feeling looked down upon by the very people who are supposed to serve them. When Governor Hochul paints all Republicans as anti-woman or anti-American, it shows a lack of understanding and a lack of respect for the diversity of thought within her own state. It's hard to imagine that a governor would want to tell a third of her constituents, if you don't like my way, get out. And yet, this is the kind of rhetoric we keep hearing. The fact is, political leaders from both parties should focus on their policies, their ideas, and their vision for the future. And let's be fair, Republicans aren't innocent when it comes to inflammatory language either, but that's no excuse. At a time when we desperately need to bring people together, Hochul's words are a step in the wrong direction. This isn't about whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. It's about showing a basic level of respect for each other as Americans. Voting is a cornerstone of our democracy, a right for every citizen to exercise without fear of shame or ridicule. Hochul's remarks don't strengthen the democratic process, they weaken it. They divide, they alienate, and they make voters feel unwelcome in their own state. As we head into Election Day, let's remind ourselves what this is really about. It's not about tearing each other down. It's about casting our ballots for what we believe in. So I say to the voters out there, vote with your conscience, not out of fear or guilt. And to our elected leaders, try showing a little more respect.
Beam me up.
To be continued.
Choosing a bottled Starbucks Frappuccino drink that's all flavor and just 100 calories? Easy. Choosing between creamy vanilla, double chocolate, and sea salt caramel flavors? A little harder. Try the delicious new Starbucks Frappuccino light drinks. Look for them wherever you buy groceries. Start with Starbucks coffee.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Rudy Giuliani is a giant in New York City's history, and there's no question that he saved this city at least twice. His leadership during his 2 terms as mayor was transformative, tackling crime, rebuilding the economy, and setting the stage for a safer, stronger city. And after September 11th, he became a global symbol of resilience, earning the nickname America's Mayor. He was the model of courage, dignity, and steadfastness that we needed in those dark days. But now rumors are swirling, and the New York Post is reporting that he's considering another run for mayor, and the Post is reporting that people around him are urging him to do so. And while I'll always hold Rudy Giuliani in the highest regard, both politically and personally, I can't help but feel that this would be a mistake. not only do I think he wouldn't win, but I worry this move could risk damaging further his hard-earned legacy. Giuliani's current situation is complicated. He's facing a lot of legal battles, fighting a massive judgment, and dealing with health challenges. The spotlight has not been kind to him in recent years, and the last thing he or New York City needs is to relive a bruising campaign that could end up diminishing his past contributions. Running for mayor now, especially at 80 years old, with all these challenges, might overshadow the monumental achievements of his first terms and reduce a legacy that deserves to remain intact. There's also the political reality to consider. Times have changed, and so has New York's electorate. Winning the mayoralty as a Republican in this city has become harder than ever. Giuliani was a Republican in a different New York, a city desperate for change, willing to rally around a tough-talking prosecutor ready to bring order. Today, that same city is much more divided, and running now would require him to navigate not only political opposition, but also his own evolving public image. A defeat would be devastating, and even a hard-fought campaign could bring unwanted scrutiny and controversy. Who needs that? If there's still a role for Rudy Giuliani in public life, perhaps it could be in a national capacity, like an ambassador in a potential next Trump administration, something that doesn't risk eroding his legacy here in New York. Giuliani has always been a patriot, and a role that allows him to continue serving without the bruising daily grind of city politics might be a better fit at this stage in his life. At the end of the day, Rudy's legacy in New York is secure, at least it should be. He doesn't need another run to prove his love or dedication to this city. What he did for New York will stand the test of time, whether or not he's in City Hall again. The best tribute to his legacy might be to preserve it, not risk it.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
With Election Day upon us, it's easy to get caught up in the headline-grabbing races, especially the big-ticket presidential and congressional battles. But if you're a New Yorker, there are also state legislative races that deserve your attention, especially here in New York City, where control of the state Senate and Assembly affects everything from education to housing, public safety, and taxes. Right now, there are 4 or 5 legislative races in the city that are truly competitive, and the outcomes could have a real impact on the city's direction. Let's start in Brooklyn's 17th Senate District. Here, Democratic Senator Ewan Chu is fighting to hold on to her seat against Republican Steve Chan, a former NYPD sergeant. This district includes communities like Sunset Park, Bensonhurst, and Bay Ridge. Chu has been working on e-bike safety legislation, while Chan is focusing on crime and opposing a proposed homeless shelter in the area. Then there's the 23rd Assembly District in Queens. This is a race my friend Sid Rosenberg has talked about a bit because he's friendly with the Republican running. Here is where the Democrat Stacey Pfeffer Amato is in a rematch with Republican Tom Sullivan. Last time, Pfeffer Amato won by only 15 votes. She's made it clear that she's an ally of law enforcement, while Sullivan is calling for tougher action on issues like the migrant crisis and cash bail reform. This race covering the Rockaways and Howard Beach is one of the closest in the city. Another race to watch is in South Brooklyn's 46th Assembly District. Here you have Alec Brokrasny, a Democrat turned Republican. He's defending his seat against Chris McCrate, a newcomer and a top aide to City Councilman Justin Brannan. Brokrasny flipped this district from blue to red 2 years ago, and it's been hotly contested ever since. Moving over to Queens in the 11th Senate District. Democratic Senator Toby Ann Stavisky is facing a challenge from Republican Yi-Ten Chu. Stavisky is a long-serving legislator with deep roots in Queens politics, while Chu is campaigning for a fresh start, focusing on education and public safety. Finally, we have the 26th Senate District in Brooklyn, where Democrat Andrew Guinardis is up against Republican Vito LaBella in a district that includes parts of downtown Brooklyn and Park Slope. The district was close at previous elections, and LaBella has made gains in recent years. These races matter because despite the overwhelming Democratic presence in New York City, a few districts remain competitive. This can swing the balance in Albany on key issues affecting us all. So as you head to the polls, don't stop voting at the top of the ticket. These state legislative races may be lower profile, but they're just as important for the future of our city. Remember, your vote can make a difference right here at home.
Beam me up.
To be continued.